Game Soup with Chloe and Kayla. This is a game design podcast where we throw ideas in a pot and see what's cooking. I'm Kayla. How are you doing, Chloe? On this a podcast where indie TTRPG developers Kayla Dice and Chloe Montgomery throw ideas in the pot and try to make tabletop games is Google's overview of us, because I was trying to find an old episode link, and I was like, it's so close to having captured our slogan, but then just ends with, and try to make tabletop games.
What, is that like the AI generated thing?
I don't even know, because this feels more like the old school style of overview, not when they were doing it like the full AI summary, but for like the last 10 years it's been like you search a thing and it might give you a thing it's ripped from Wikipedia or something. And I feel like that wasn't AI, or at least not
throw ideas in the
LLM
pot and
stuff.
try to make tabletop games. That is what the original description on Apple Podcasts is, because I've never changed it.
Why did you... Okay, this one's entirely on you, not Google. That's hilarious.
Yeah, this is 2023 Chloe's fault, basically.
I feel like, in my mind, I thought we had the catchphrase from episode 1, but clearly it maybe took us a bit of time to figure it out. Well, I was only realizing because I had to win searching this Search Game Soup podcast, because I forgot that Game Soup is a real soup, because I don't eat soup. Or games.
Yes. Do you eat podcasts?
No, but I suppose I do consume them. Oh, I love to consume content.
Who doesn't? In this day and age.
What's your... but how are you doing, Chloe? I'm very tired because I had a long sort of weekend, so I'm going to be in a loopy mood today.
I've been pretty loopy all week as well. It was my birthday at the weekend, so we had a barbecue, and I think I got some sort of sun weirdness. It's not sunstroke, but it's weirdness, Yeah.
Do you get bad heat deregulation?
I don't know about that. I'm always quite over cold in the winter and over warm in the summer, so probably yes.
Are you, and you don't have to answer this question on podcast if you don't want, are you or have you ever been on sertraline?
Once or twice, yes, in the past.
Apparently it can, even if you're no longer on it, it can still leave you with that sort of like fucking up your temperature reg.
Oh, well, there you go.
Mine, I've been on sertraline for 8 years now. That sounds about right. And I didn't used to get it, but like gradually the dose increased, and around sometime last summer I increased it, and then I also started a painkiller that also has this effect. So I feel when the heat wave hit this summer, if I didn't have that before, it suddenly really came in now. But
we're going to be a generation of 35-year-old grannies wearing big cardigans and big blankets everywhere, aren't we?
I don't know, because also the other thing is that does mean it gets quite hot. The easiest, my favorite outfit in summer is crop top and shorts, because it's I'm not having to deal with anything. I also feel like as a sensory experience, crop top and shorts is great.
Well, I don't like the belly being out, but each to their own.
I understand that. I was going to say something about burning, or I didn't burn. Which at any point over the weekend, which is nice. I've not burned this year.
There's still time, honey.
There is. I live in fear of it. I, autistically, speaking of sensory stuff, hate the feeling of a lotion on my skin. I really don't like putting on sunscreen. But you know what other sensation I hate? Sunburn. And unfortunately, only one of those sensations increases the risk of cancer. So, I go with tolerating the lotion rather than tolerating the burns. But
just start wearing a parasol around. Pretend you're a vampire.
I was a friend of mine in the heat wave who uses a power chair, had an umbrella on it, and I was like, oh my god, that's so smart. And briefly, I was almost like, I should do that, and then I was like, wait, no. No, it wasn't clipped in. She was holding it, but it's because with a power chair, you move it one-handed. Whereas I was like, no, I can't carry a wheel. I need it fucking hooked up.
Yeah.
like a little chariot or something.
I'm sure they can get you a third arm.
I think they removed my third arm nearly quite a while ago.
Yowza.
And with that, do we want to move on to making games?
Yes. I have an idea. I've seen on Blue Sky a lot of very horny games. I think they call it, the genre they're going for is faggot games, but it just looks really horny.
Mm-hmm.
I've not.
That doesn't surprise me that that's what your following feed is showing up.
Thank you, honey. I've not actively
It's
read
technically
that big essay that was nominated for something, Ennies maybe, but
I believe Crit's not Ennies, but yeah. No,
yeah,
the I can't remember if it was its article was title was Faggot Games. I can't tell if it was
yeah,
had Manifesto in it as the title, and it was by Darling Demon Eclipse. I know what you're talking about. Yes,
yeah.
but
I'll
this
find
is
a link and
useful
put it in the
recaps
description.
for our blessed third, the listener.
But yeah, basically, I'm like, what would be the horny faggot game that we made? I know we've done an episode of horny games, but
yeah, as a non-practicing bisexual, do I
sure,
have much
honey.
to offer in the realm of horny faggots these days?
Well, look, you
Are
have.
you gonna have
You
to
have the
bleep
past
me saying
experience.
faggot, but not you?
Oh, I don't care anymore.
No, I'm just like that would be really funny if because of saying like, is Kayla that faggoty anymore? Like it always has to be bleeped when I say it.
It's still bi. It's still transsexual.
I am still bi. I am still bi. I think this is very. The funny thing is, I think this is funny because there's a part of me that thinks like, trans women's the top ranking of queer. So
yeah, we outrank you. We can say worse.
My actual straightness, even if I was fully just straight, it's kind of absurd to pretend that being bi dating a straight man makes me be straight because it's like I don't get to be considered straight anyway. That's why I find the joke very funny. I'm not actually trying to put biphobic words in your mouth.
It's
But
okay. You deserve it.
This is a question when you say what we would make because I feel like what this podcast doesn't always address, but sometimes like comes towards.
Yeah, I know we do it different ways.
I'm just like we're very different game designers, though. I think like we have some things similar, but like I don't know. What do you think of the big differences between you and me as game designers are?
You make your own systems, and I don't. I don't. I don't know.
I'm sure that's but I get vaguely what you're saying, but I feel a lot of stuff you've made qualifies more as its own. I think you more draw from other media than I do.
Yeah, I draw from tropes and like existing things, whereas you go off on your own thing.
Yeah, I guess I get called personal a lot by people,
yeah.
which I never entirely know how to feel about.
I've never had that levied against me, so.
Would you want it?
I mean, it feels weird to say that my games are impersonal. Which
that's the thing. I don't. That's why I'm also find it a bit weird because it's like all games are personal. I think there is an assumption, which there's a lever of truth here, but I think it's sometimes over applied of the idea of like, oh, Kayla's stuff must be coming from very personal places, and it must be implicitly quite autobiographical or filtered autobiographical in a way that I feel is sometimes applied to like female singer-songwriters and stuff, where there's like less of an assumption compared to like contemporaries that they'd be creating something fictional. But also a lot of my game does draw from personal places. I find it weird when people who are not me say that though, because I'm like, it feels like it's being described as a marketing thing. This is kind of sideways, but I feel like for talking about like, you know, what is our faggot game? I feel like we do need to, I guess, is this personal? Is this about media? Like, I guess the difference between us is I have read the manifesto.
I mean, my understanding of it, I guess it would just be like throw your kinks into a game and if you build it, they will come. I don't know.
Is that an intentional pun?
Oh, well, there you go.
So, which of your kinks do you want to share live on our podcast, Chloe? You pitched this idea,
I
so
did
like
pitch
I
this
do feel
idea.
yeah, I feel
Shit.
like if you want to drag a game out of this, you've got to be the one driving it. Or we've got to find another angle.
Okay. Yep, no, anxiety's hit me. I've got no ideas now.
Fair. I was gonna say, I feel like a game. Well, actually, no, because it's very. I feel having also, like I say, read the manifesto. I feel the closest game of mine that could be thought of as a target game would predate the manifesto entirely, and I think it's. I wouldn't personally subsume it into that movement, even though I can see relevance would be to embrace a swamp creature, because like that's a lot a game about like internal feelings of queerness and feeling like that's not meshing with a world around you, which I feel could have some sort of resonance there. With that allowing me to justify this segment, do you want to go to a random word generator to the safety
Yeah, desperately.
zone? I've got a great first word.
Look, the reason why I brought that whole thing up is I've been playing a visual novel recently, which is about transformation and furries, and I was like, what is the RPG version of this? And I'm just like, honestly, if I was writing this, it would probably be a dungeon where you get TF'd, and there you go. You have to use your new animal powers to do dungeon things.
There is a game
and
I think that
fucking
does
suck
do
your
like
way
furry
out of the dungeon.
Yeah. That's what I know we don't need to. I was about to ask, like, do you have much experience of porn games? I was like, you said you wanted to get off this topic, but what I was going to say, tying this in, when I was doing "This Is Your Life Path" and I did the episode on Joe Winter, I was looking through things. She'd written and she'd done, I think, some stretch goal material for a game called "To Change" that I think does cover some of the area you were talking.
I think I've heard of it.
Do you have
yeah.
your random? Yeah. Do you have your random word generator?
My word is "I," like the thing in your head.
I've got apology, which I thought was funny. But the thing in your head, my mind has immediately gone to Cyclops.
Okay.
Because I think Cyclops country. What's Cyclops country?
It's a single player belonging outside belonging game where you are a Cyclops who's been forced to move into the wilderness after a new king or whatever has outlawed magical creatures or non-human creatures, and you have to make your own way in the world, trying to, find comfort and try to find a community. But you're the only Cyclops for miles around, so is there community in the Minotaur in the mountain? It's that sort of thing. Like, I think it's very Greek myth inspired. And like, is there people coming to kill you? Like, it's about bigotry. It's about whatever
How does
else.
it work if it's single player? I know like people can play belonging single player, but I'm like, what are you imagining this doing in the text if it's very specifically?
I think my brain was to say journaling, but I think it is actually a game where you record yourself giving a monologue as a Cyclops, and then you make rolls to determine like whatever story you're telling. Which is like your history, your past stories. And it's like, oh, so then I came across the Minotaur, but I didn't have enough energy to emotionally connect with the Minotaur because I hadn't done enough negative moves. And so the Minotaur picked up their axe and threatened me. That sort of thing.
I think actually what you have line on who's. Do you know much about like ancient Greek theater?
No, tell me.
It's just like it's a big thing as well. Like you get lots like on the third episode, the episode of This Your Life Path I did with Laurie, we talked a lot about Euripides, who was like a ancient Greek, like a not ancient Greek, I mean classical Greek, like thing. It's just like theater there was like a big thing, and there as a lot of the stories we have do come specifically from theater. This was making me have an idea of like, well, what if this isn't a single player game? What if this is a case of almost an audition? And kind of you're all playing the chorus who are auditioning to be the Cyclops by making your own monologue with different prompts or stuff, with the idea that the other members of the chorus are also the jury or stuff.
Okay. And so, like, we have a list of prompts or something, and
yeah, I think it is a similar thing of a list of prompts. I almost think maybe you draft them. Like, you do get, like, dice rolls, and then it's like, but across multiple, you roll some dice, and then it's like, oh, these are the eligible things you could grab on your turn. You can take those prompts, and they're crossed out, and they're not going to be able to be claimed by the other chorus members who are going to try and audition. So, drafting until whatever prompts are getting left over. You maybe have some time if you want to like organize these into a notes form before your go as the Cyclops. And maybe you're doing this actually, maybe taking this further, it's almost like there's an act structure each case. Like as who's going to be the Cyclops in Act 1? And that, whoever gets judged based on to have done the thing gets to settle that narrative as we go into the next act.
Yeah, and that like sets
I myself have not read or watched
plot. Yeah.
I myself have not read or seen much classical Greek theatre, even though I'm aware of it because of Laurie. Though I read Glorious Exploits, which was a bit about that, and was what kind of influenced the Asphodel FC idea I had. I feel this game is not called Cyclops Country now, but it's
I think
Cyclops
it's like
something.
the Cyclops.
It's Enter Cyclops stage left.
There we go, we solved it.
This does remind me of one thing, which I think could take us out of this slightly chaotic episode after we talk about it. Because I just mentioned Asphodel FC, that game I pitched a couple of times before on the podcast.
Yeah.
About you being like the managers of an underdog sports team who are going to be kicked out of the league next season, and they have this one limited season to sort of accomplish as much as they can. And I believe in a previous episode I'd pitched this imploding dice pool system, which I thought was fun. But I was kind of just having the idea recently of like, oh, what if I use parts of Transgender Deathmatch Legends system for it? Like, what if I say there are 8 tricks representing the two halves of a sports match, and like maybe like you collapse some of the individual cards into a thing where it's like, oh yeah, 1 to 4 are just offensive moves, 5 to 8 are attempts to tackle, then like the face cards and the ace are score attempts. Maybe there's some kind of arc of like you need to be the leading player to score, so you're not just trying to win this trick, you need to win 2 tricks in a row.
Yeah, you got to cross it with a low card or something, and then...
Yeah, like I feel like some kind of tactical element there could actually make it interesting, because then I also think that really opens up how you get better. Because this is the problem I kind of had with the game. It's like, well, if this is an idea of you are managing a sports team, your team has to get better. And with the dice pool system I had, there's kind of really just a number that can only just passively raise from 1 to 5, and that's not much variety. Whereas here, if it's like, oh, you're unlocking trumps, where it's like, oh, you've given this player confidence, they're now having your 2 now has the trump effect of lead the next trick, even if you lose this one, which is a huge thing for getting that sort of like 2-up thing. I wonder if maybe, making it a card game would do that, even though I feel that would really represent a solid shift into me just being a card game designer specifically.
We all have phases, honey. I think the idea of you being able to, like, you have your deck of cards at the start of the game, which is your team at the start, and then you modify the deck, like you write on it or something, like, here's what this card has gained a trump, or it's gained a new ability or something. And it's like, as you play the game, you modify the deck itself, and the deck is your team.
Yeah, I feel I probably wouldn't want to have to go modifying the deck itself, because the way the card thing would work is you and the opposing player would be drawing from the same deck.
Right.
But I
Okay.
think it would more modifies the Trump effects, like the Oracle in Transgender Deathmatch Legend. It's like, oh yeah, you know the 10 has this Trump effect. I did this in Forecaster, which was a spin-off game. Not a spin-off. It was a game using the same system that barely anyone paid attention to because it was doing plurality stuff, I think. Also, it was just a bit obscure, but there's some really fun mechanical stuff in it. But there, it's like I just wrote a Trump for effect for every card, but it's like you are only able to activate 4 of them at the start. You pick which 4, and then it's like leveling up after certain fights that you add another Trump effect to your Oracle, which is kind of your character sheet almost.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I could use that tech. Part of me's also wondering a thing though, because now I'd have a number sequence from, of like 9 things. Could I even go like, oh, these are your players? Like the ace is your ace. The
Yeah.
number 2 is your number 2. But then I'm also like, but then that's weird because that means your lower player numbers are always just going to be, they're kind of implicitly bad players, and that doesn't make sense. But I don't know. I reckon when I go away soon, which I'm going to do, that sounded ominous, but I'm going to have some time by myself. No, that sounded more ominous. I'm going on holiday almost. I'm going on holiday.
There you go.
On holiday, I'm like, maybe I'll try and do some actual writing down of this game, figuring out what kind of mechanical thing it could be. I don't know. I think there's a lot of fun stuff in this idea, and when I talk about sports to people, they're often like, "Oh yeah, you like sports in a way where you should make this game." I do think making a mildly bleak football game for TTRPG fans feels not the smartest financial decision.
I think if you were to make it more like a board game with these like pre-made like oracles, and like you have to, for your team, you have to write in for like the 2 of diamonds, you write in on your little sheet what each thing is, but then you have like a bunch of like pre-made ones for rival teams, and it's like, oh yeah, they all come pre-made with a bunch of trumps already on their stuff.
That is what I had the idea of, like, giving them oracles. I think the thing is, like, just on a really plain level, I don't think I have the resources or capacity to do a game with a bunch of little bits in a box.
Oh no, definitely. You could just do like a printed version, but then at cons you just like have pre-printed out the things, and here is a Polly Pocket with all of the teams in it.
Yeah, I think I couldn't do that well enough to make it good. I think I'm increasingly just like, even though I'm like, I'm clearly becoming a card game designer, I also think I'm kind of like very much locked into the book now, because I'm like, I don't think, unless I was working with someone else who was going to do like managing wider project stuff, and I don't necessarily think I'm at the kind of, I'm not someone who is working with other people much in that way.
Well, publishers, if you want the next big football RPG thing, you know who to get in touch with.
I mean, yeah, if a publisher wanted to invest in this game, I'm sure it could be even better than the version I will probably make. But I'll probably make some kind of small book version. But also, I'm not sure how well I work with a publisher. Am I too much of a loose cannon who doesn't play well with others? Am I too much of an iconoclast?
Yeah, 90 episodes into this 2-person podcast, you're definitely a one-man show. Thank you for listening to Game Soup.
Listening to Game Soup.
Sorry about the mess.